That started, Chair.
Sorry, is that okay? It started, has it? Right, okay. Thank you to everybody for attending this virtual meeting for the Overview and Scrutiny Performance Panel on Thursday, the 4th of March 2021. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Councillor Lees and I am the Vice Chair of this committee, standing in for Councillor Walker tonight, who unfortunately can't make it. Please note this is a Teams meeting. It is being recorded and the video will be uploaded to YouTube after the meeting. For each item, I will invite members to use the raise hand function on your iPad to make any comments to ensure each member has the opportunity to speak and that they are not speaking over each other. When speaking, please reference the paragraph number to enable everyone to follow you. Please mute your microphone and video feed when you are not speaking. If the technology fails, then I will adjourn the meeting for a few minutes. Try to resolve the issue, or if this is not possible, a new date and time will be organised. Please can I ask all members to confirm that they can hear and speak before the meeting begins. I will call out each member. Christopher France. Are you here, Christopher? Alex Hilton.
Present, Chair.
Marion Law. No, Marion. June Molyneux.
Good evening, Chair.
Thank you. I'll start with the minutes of the meeting Thursday, the 19th of November. Are there any issues to raise on the accuracy of the minutes?
I've moved those minutes, Chair.
Right. Any seconder for those?
It's going to have to be you, Alex.
I'll second.
It's going to have to. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the recommendation is that the minutes of the meeting will be approved. They were sponsored by, proposed by June Molyneux and seconded by myself. Are we all in favour of the proposal? Any against? Please say. The minutes are accepted. They are approved. Declarations of any interest. Members are reminded of their responsibility to declare any pecuniary interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda. As this is a virtual meeting, if a member has a pecuniary interest, they are requested to leave the call completely rather than just mute their microphone. The member can rejoin the call following the completion of the item in question. We now go on to item 3.
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, we've not had any apologies. You never said.
Has there been any apologies?
There have, yes, Chair. There's been Councillor Lowe and Councillor John Walker.
Right. Okay. Thank you. It's not on the list, you see. Right. Item 3, performance focus, commercial services, pages 9 to 20. To receive and consider the report of the Deputy Chief Executive, please can the report be presented? And who's doing that? Is that you? Excuse me.
I can give a quick overview, Chair. It's Vicky, and then
okay, all right, then, Vicky. Cheers.
Mark and Alistair will be able to answer the questions. So just to give a brief overview of the paper that you've got there within the agenda. The paper provides a quick summary of the Directorate. So within the Commercial and Property Directorate, you've got Commercial and Assets, Development and Business, and then more recently Projects and Development, which is a separable function. So I'm just this paper particularly focuses on Chorley Council performance and delivery. In terms of a brief overview of performance, obviously the Directorate delivers a large number of capital schemes and some of the major projects that are included there, Alkaline, Tatton, Whittle, to name a few. But the Directorate is also heavily involved in supporting the COVID-19 emergency response, supporting businesses with the administration of grants, but then also with the business support through online support and workshops is listed there. Then the rest of the paper covers off a budget update, an update on the performance context with some key performance measures for each of the services. The paper itself just contains a snapshot of some of those performance measures. A full list is within the appendix. And then at the end of the paper, there's an overview of the performance of the corporate strategy projects, the key projects for this directorate, and that is accurate as of the end of Q3. So I'll hand over to you for any questions now, and then I think Mark and Alistair are here as well. Thank you.
I was muted for some reason or other. Is there any questions to ask?
Yes, Chair.
Right, yes, Councillor Hilton, yes.
Sorry. Right, just a couple of quickies. Sorry, I'm working across two screens and it's quite confusing. Page 14, talking about developing a business plan for wholly owned company. Strategy was due to be submitted for approval during Q4. However, pending the release of new government guidance, which may be announced during Q4, use of public work loan funds for commercial investments, it was agreed that it would be postponed. Have we heard anything more about that yet, or how it might be affecting us?
Can anybody answer that, please?
Excuse me, Chair. I'm getting a lot of feedback on my line. I don't know if people aren't muting or something, but I didn't hear that question at all. So I think there's some interference because I didn't hear that question.
Can you repeat it, Alex, please?
Yeah,
Chair, I can pick you up if you like, Alistair. It's a technical one. Okay. So the question was around a delay that's been caused to the business plan around the wholly owned company, the property company, and the document is actually drafted. And then at the 11th hour, the government made a number of announcements around changes to the use of Public Works Loan Board funds for commercial investment purposes. Now, the spirit of those announcements is actually aimed at councils that are doing things slightly differently than Chorley, in as much as we are investing within the borough. And so it could be argued that not only are they commercial investments, but we're actually invested in the economic future of the borough as well. The policies are really aimed predominantly at some authorities which are making wholesale large investments, often outside of the borough, elsewhere in the country. So the government has sort of dripped this policy change for some time and then made a formal announcement in it late last calendar year. They did indicate initially that the guidance would be released before the end of the calendar year. And to my knowledge, it's still not been forthcoming. And that's probably, in fairness, due to everything else that's been going on in terms of policy that government has had to deal with. But we're still awaiting that. As soon as we have it, we're hoping that there aren't significant changes to the document we've already drafted, and we'll be able to bring that to council, because we're hoping that our strategy as drafted is compliant.
Okay, brilliant. I've got one other question, Chair.
Yeah, okay. Go on, Alex.
Just very quickly, on page 15, deliver improvements to the town centre. Let's talk about the bus station there. Have we, are we tying in with LCC on that one? Are we getting any funding from LCC as the Transport Authority?
Councillor Hilton, I think I shared a letter with members, certainly in my group, and I'm happy to share it with you again, which explained that we had a negative response from County Council because when we did the analysis of sharing the bus station, well, not sharing, taking on the bus station costs, obviously it's running at a loss as they currently operate it, and to therefore turn it around, we'd have to make changes, and that would take a period of time. We asked for a contribution of approximately half of that cost for a period of, I think it was either 3 years or 5 years, Mark. I can't remember if it was 3 or 5 years. I can take the letter out. And County Council came back and said, unfortunately, we're in a position to do that. So at the moment, we're not in a position where we can take all that cost on because there's a certain number of commitments that they've put in to, you know, and we would have to stand those costs for a period of time. And I don't think it's fair to put all those costs straight onto Chorley. It's particularly regrettable that the executive member who made the response was Councillor Keith Hidden, who is a Chorley councillor. And it just summarises to me the lack of investment in Chorley Town Centre by Lancashire County Council and the detriment they're putting our population at when they can basically refurbish all of Preston's bus station for £1 and spending millions of pounds and not even contribute a few tens of thousands of pounds to Chorley's bus station. So if it was down to County Council, Chorley's Town Centre will close tomorrow, in my view.
Lovely. Thanks, Alistair.
Was that clear enough, by the way?
Yes, very.
Thank you.
Any other comments or anything? No. Then I propose that item be noted. Can we go on to the next item 4, which is the where are we now? Business planning update. To receive and consider the report of the Deputy Chief Executive, pages 21 to 32. Who's going to lead this, please?
Thank you, Chair. I
Is
can
that-
provide a brief overview.
Thank you.
This committee scrutinises the performance of the service business plans. So that's an internal process that helps, that underpins our performance management framework. And each service annually will produce a business plan that starts with the corporate strategy projects, but also includes any other key transformation or budget projects that service is responsible for delivering. Along with the performance measures within that service area, and they are all brought together in a single business plan. So this is an update on the kind of year-end position for the business plans, and we're about to go into business planning for the next year. So at the end, the second half of the paper just looks ahead to the approach that we're going to be taking. So moving into the update, so at the end of this business planning year, so at the current point, I think this was February, of the 15 business plans that were produced, and of the projects that are within those, there's 189 in total that are broadly split across those 15. 33 are complete, 118 are ongoing, and 11 haven't started. 27 are on hold. So when we gave this last update, I think it would have been in September time last year. Obviously, we reported on the impact that some of the COVID measures and the restrictions had on our ability to deliver projects. But it's positive in that some of those projects have now been able to move forward. We've revised or rescoped some of the plans, which means that where there are elements that we can progress, we have done. Where there are other things that we've perhaps needed to revisit and relook at and push back into, a future year, we've been able to do that. So I think it's a much more positive position now. Compared to the same time last year, we're not that far off in terms of our performance, despite everything that's happened. So roughly the same number of projects are complete at this point in the year. A number are ongoing, a small number haven't started. There are more that are on hold, but they will all be reviewed as part of this year's business planning process. So where they are on hold, it is primarily still things that we haven't been able to progress. It is the projects that require more sort of physical involvement or face-to-face interaction. Of the projects that are ongoing, all of those will be reviewed at this point in the year. A number of them are part of, well, a majority of them are part of bigger schemes of work that will take place over multiple years. So they will continue into next year's business planning. So a full breakdown of all of the plans is included at the appendix, so you can see those split by service and there's a status next to each of them. We can provide more detail on request about any of those projects, and obviously happy to answer any questions that we can do now. As I say, the second part of this report looks ahead to the business planning approach for the next 12 months. We've got a tried and tested approach now, which we will continue. We've had some learning from last year around how we use our systems, how we support teams, and how we provide feedback to make sure that we're giving that opportunity for teams and services to kind of reflect and look at how they might do things differently. So they are some of the areas that we'll look to improve, but broadly the process will stay the same. And that means that directors will provide the key messages to their staff, and then their team, service managers and teams will go off and do service level business planning sessions. As part of those sessions, they consider risk, or quality obligations, and then also look at performance indicators and any programme management resource that might be needed to deliver the projects within that business plan. The slight difference this year is that obviously a lot of the business planning sessions will be done virtually, so we will be asking staff, whereas they might normally kind of do workshops in person, they may be, well, they are more than likely going to be doing those sort of via the technology that we've got. And then the other slight difference to note this year is that we'll be running a parallel process with South Ripple, and that is mainly to take account of where we've got shared services, and also now we've got the shared directors in place. It just helps to kind of keep everything aligned and make sure that we've got a consistent process, so that we're considering all of our kind of different resourcing needs at one point in time. So that's an update on kind of the last 12 months and looking ahead to the next 12 months in terms of business planning. The next update that you'll get after this will be a position for the next year's business plans, but I'm happy to take any questions at this point, and we can find out any further information if there is anything that we're not able to deal with tonight. Thank you.
Sorry, I would now like to ask members to raise your comments and ask any questions. Councillor Hilton.
So yeah, just one very quick question. It's just about the leisure contract. I believe Active Nation have been pursuing the council for losses during COVID-19 pandemic. Are there going to be any kind of negotiations about if anything like that were to happen in the future for the next contract?
Anybody want to answer that question, please?
Do you want me to come in there?
Yeah, if you can.
I'm way out of my comfort zone, Councillor Hilton, as you'll probably appreciate, because there isn't a contract proposal in place at the minute, so that's the easy answer. So at the moment, no, but obviously the current situation that's affected and the Active Nation, as I previously advised, I think that to council, the Active Nation claim we thought was a little bit spurious, given that they were completing the contract anyway. So therefore, we just completed it earlier. So we don't believe they do have a valid claim, and that was the last I'm aware of. The second point is obviously a lot of councils have had to relook at their arrangements and their contracts with any kind of provider based on a pandemic, which we've not experienced before since the 1920s or whenever it was. So therefore, yes, in lots of contracts we will be putting pandemic clauses in, alongside other local government organisations, with advice from the LGA and others. The one that's affecting most at the minute, to be honest with you, some of our retail elements in the town centre, because obviously we are getting approached regarding COVID clauses within rental agreements from tenants. So that's the biggest impact at the minute, but whether we do it with our leisure centres in the future, will be coming back to council or certainly exec cabinet, but I imagine council for discussion at some point in the future.
Let's hope we won't need them.
Sorry?
I said let's hope we won't need them in the future.
Let's definitely hope that. It should be a 1 in 100 years event, in which case we've seen our version of it, haven't we?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? No? Then I propose that these thing be noted. Are we all in favour? Any objections?
Yes.
Right. The decision is that the report be noted. That forms the completion of the agenda. There are no other items to be discussed or emergency. So I'll now declare the meeting closed. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
You were right, Chair. You were quicker than Councillor Walker.
Yeah.